Hi, I'm Susan Ashbrook with Equine VIP. We cover all different riding disciplines, interesting horses, and of course, celebrities and equine VIPs. Because if it's about horses, we cover it. I'm here with Diane Kastama, who just got back from the 2012 Para-Equestrian World Championship Games. That's a mouthful.
Yes, it is.
Now, Diane, you do awesome combined driving, and I really wanted to ask you, about your journey. When did you start doing combined driving?
I started doing combined driving in 1999 when the horse that I was currently driving reached the age of 4. The horse's minimum age is 4, and then at the FEI level 6 is the minimum age of the horse. But I've been driving since 1995, and I just got into driving because I was in the wheelchair, and I used to be a dressage rider and rode trail and taught kids how to ride horses and stuff. And then I was in a car accident, which left me paralyzed. And a year later I was riding, and it wasn't fun because I kept falling off. Or people had to walk along beside you, and so I kind of knew about driving, and I found some local clubs and some local people that drove, and this was in San Diego, and taught my trail horse how to drive.
Wow.
Now I'm a lot smarter.
Yeah, now you know better, right?
That's right. Now I know everything that can happen, and
you're a lifelong horsewoman, it sounds like, and discovered combined driving, and I think a lot of people don't know all that's involved with combined driving.
Combined driving is modeled after the 3-day eventing, where you do driven dressage one day, and you do a cross-country marathon the second day, and on the third day you drive through cones rather than going over jumps. And depending on the level you're at, the clearance is as narrow as 20 centimeters, which is about 5.5 inches, 6 inches.
You make it sound so calm, and you just do this and that. I've seen photos. It's gnarly. You're going fast. Is it timed?
Yes. On the cross-country marathon, you can think it's kind of like a car pace rally at first, where you have to complete a specified distance in a certain amount of time. But the last section is called Section E, and on that you have up to 8 obstacles that are lettered, and there's lettered gates up from A through F. And you've pre-walked this course to negotiate the fastest and the quickest way for your turnout to go through this obstacle. And it'll be water, up hills, off camber turns, and so you have this guy on the back that hangs off to keep you from tipping over. And think of, barrel racing, but with the carriage and on a hill and over bumps and
crazy.
Yes, and they build, and you can do this competition with a single horse, a pair of horses, which is side by side, a four-in-hand of horses, which is 2 pairs, one in front of the other, or you can do it with a tandem, which is one horse in front of the other, and it's like pushing a wet noodle.
Right.
And so I compete single and also pair, and then I've also done the tandem.
Now, did your family and friends say, "Okay, Diane, you're crazy," when you first started doing this?
Yeah, my mom was like kind of freaked out, and she just said,
she
just said, as long as you wear a helmet, I mean, do what you can, be smart about it,
safe,
and then it's your life. And my parents are my greatest supporters. They go to every show, and my dad loads the carriage and loads horses, and we've become mechanics, carriage mechanics.
Yes,
so I can change bearings.
If you have to, you do what you have to, right?
And I've even adjusted disc brakes, So.
Oh my God!
I know more, and then I mess it up and have to call someone.
So I wanted to ask you about the equipment that you use. Do you have any special equipment?
Yes, there's a few things. I walk the courses using a golf cart or a gator, and everyone else has to physically walk the course.
Right.
And since I can't wheel it,
you compete against
everybody.
Everybody.
Yes, that's the greatest part about driving. And I have a handbrake on my carriage. My pair carriage currently doesn't have one, but my single carriage has a handbrake that I can operate with my arm, or the navigator on the back or groom can grab it. and use it at the right time, since I don't have my feet to use the brake. I also use a quick release seatbelt. That's like the 5-point for dune buggies and etc.
Like you're a race car driver.
Right.
Well, let's talk about, you just got back from the Netherlands and
Yes.
Europe, and Diane has a blog and is so fabulous, and I learned a lot. First of all, you get over there and you didn't bring your horses, you used somebody else's horses.
Yes.
I give you big points for that and competing.
Yes, I've competed in the World Championships in 2002, 4, 6, 8, and 12. And in 2 and 4, I borrowed Welsh cobs. And one was Welsh Cob Stallion. I got the individual silver medal, and we got team bronze. And in 2004, I borrowed Jasper, and a fellow teammate borrowed Rupert, who you saw today. And I fell in love with them, and the gentleman who owned them wanted me to have them, and so made it financially feasible to bring them home.
Awesome.
And basically took the West Coast by storm driving. And I'd never really driven pair before until I had, because they were
Really?
perfectly matched. But then in 2006, I managed to raise enough money, and when I went back, I took Jasper as single and I came home with the gold medal. And I took him again in 8 and came home with the bronze. So you're much more competitive when you bring your own horse, because everyone in Europe is using their own horse. I borrowed a horse, a Dutch horse, who had 2 weeks prior to me competing with this horse. It was a mare. Her name was Ruby, and big Palomino. And in Europe, you don't think of Palominos and Dutch horse. I mean, she was 16'3", huge.
Wow.
And she had just competed in the World Championships for 4-in-hand drivers with a U.S. driver. This horse had done everything, and then so she's a top horse. An able-bodied driver driving in a team used this horse and competed at a World Championships. And so I got to use her, and I got to drive her 6 times. Before I had to compete with her.
Yeah.
And we came in middle of the pack. She was great with training, and we got to the showgrounds, and she and I had communication issues.
Now, I wanted to ask you about your dogs, because they're used to the horses, and I saw Pepper grabbing the halter, and how important are they to your daily maintenance of your horses?
Well, they are Pepper, who's a golden doodle, and she was the one getting the halter. She's my service dog, and she's my 3rd service dog. And I've had her for 1.5 years, and she just does everything. When I feed, she retrieves the buckets and puts them back on the bin, gets halters, I drop the whip, she'll go pick it up. She can bring me my wheelchair for when I'm getting out of the carriage. If the horses are acting up and I can't have my header leave, she could just go get the chair and bring it to me, or brings it to my bed. She drags horse blankets, shuts stall doors, trailer doors.
I love her.
She'll carry the cooler.
So great. So Diane, thank you so much for your interview today. Now, I know you're going to have fans that are going to want to follow you. What's the best way to follow your travels?
You can follow me on Facebook, Diane Kastama. You can search, or you can also follow United States Driving for Disabled on Facebook.
Super. Thanks so much, Diane.